From hard knocks to high impact leadership, this is the mindset shift you've been waiting for. The Legacy Impact Show is where faith meets business, fitness fuels purpose, and comebacks become your new advantage. Hosted by Jason Amato, a powerhouse business growth consultant and master implementation expert in the home service world. This show is for leaders who want more than success. They want legacy. Subscribe now to the Legacy Impact Show, available on all major podcast platforms.
All right, so we're here today to talk about the first step to a healthier life. And as many of you guys know, being a part of the First Steps with Ken Goodrich, we're doing a heart health special. And today we have special guest Anne Browne, who's executive director of the American Heart Association. And she's been working with us in the group. And I'm going to welcome Anne Browne with us today. Hey, Anne, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you, Jason? Great to see you again.
Awesome. We're doing real good. And obviously things are heating up with our competition. We're getting some stuff. We celebrated National Walking Day, which if you guys don't know in the audience, the American Heart Association celebrates April the 2nd as National Walking Day, as an initiative to remind people to get out there, to get healthy, to get outside, to start walking and getting some vitamin D. And so, Anne, if you could give us a little bit of background about National Walking Day and what it means to the American Heart Association.
Well, great. But first and foremost, I do want to really, truly thank you and Ken and the team. It's just so inspiring just to see how everybody gets so motivated and really wanting to champion this effort. So National Walking Day was really just created to have people move, right? To get exercise, to get up. We all live very stressful lives, and it's just a great way to just make something simple that everybody can do. It doesn't require any, technology or equipment. It's just get up and walk.
Yes, and so we have this group, this Facebook group, and so when you're talking about getting up and walking, that's exactly what we do. So Ken Goodrich, friend of mine, started this group called The First Step with Ken Goodrich on Facebook, and so here, we're bringing in an alliance with the American Heart Association and emphasizing, spotlighting National Walking Day. But then I had this idea to kick it off with a 200-mile walking challenge inspired by you, Anne. And so we wanted to highlight really heart health awareness in the trades. And so we're driving engagement through the group. We're bringing in new faces. I think we're right in between or right around 1,700 or 1,800 people in this group. Many of them very active, many of them walking, sharing with us their walks, their steps, their mileage. But have you ever seen anything like this? A monthly challenge, and what do you think so far of it?
No, I haven't, and I love it. I just love the enthusiasm, and just when they post the things too, whether it's their mileage, their scenery, I feel like we're all a part of that journey with them, and it's just very inspiring and exciting and supportive. I love, and that's one of the many reasons why I wanted us to be part of your group, just you and Ken's group, just to really help support in terms not only the data about walking and heart health, but also to be those cheerleaders for you guys.
Yeah, it's fun. And there's some spirited conversations. There's some friendly bragging rights. We divided things into 4 groups. We have the heating and cooling guys, the electrical and the backup power squad guys, and then some of the plumber people and the vendors and trainers. And so we've seen some new people, some new faces check in every day. Seems like more and more engagement. And what we really wanted to do was just really improve overall awareness. So let's talk about why walking works. I think this is a good avenue for you and the American Heart Association to step in here and say that, there's actually a lot of benefits for your body. And just to name a few, there's improved heart function and blood pressure. There's a boost of energy and mood and focus. It's obviously easy to implement, even on job sites, but it's a great entry point for long-term wellness. So, with that being said, what do you think? I mean, we would have to add as far as health benefits here.
I mean, it's obviously not the physical side, right? It's the mental piece of it too, right? So you start becoming more creative, more productive. Um, I think you just even getting outside, right? You have a different perspective. You're not like confined in one place, isolated place. Um, Sometimes we do have to go in the treadmill, unfortunately, but again, you are just moving, right, and having a better health. Um, so those are some of the things I think about too, outside of just your overall physical health.
Absolutely. And, heart health in the trades is very interesting because we have these usually like more of a blue collar industry, more of a blue collar feel. These are people who, definitely are not, they're not a stranger to being on their feet. It's just that directing the health and the movement in the right way. And so we're talking some of these habits in the industry could be associated with long hours where bodily fatigue sets in, and then maybe poor diet. And that can come from eating on the go, eating on the run, fast food, fast casual type of eating. But, that could also equate to, longer hours and stress, anxiety, where there's even more heart risk factors. So, why why do you think heart disease is underdiagnosed maybe in the trades, or what can the people in our audience get from regular checkups and physicals?
I mean, so no, the number one disease is heart disease. Everybody can relate in some capacity, whether you may have it, or your spouse, or your friends, or your family. And it's such an important aspect in your daily life. And we all are stressed in terms of what we do, especially more specifically in your industry. I think the way we should all approach it is just to do little things, right? So it becomes manageable and not overwhelming. And it can be something as simple as even just like getting outside just for 5 minutes to walk around, or breathing exercises, or
Mhm.
as far as eating, we're all rushed, we want to eat but we don't have the time, we don't want to have to go someplace, so sometimes maybe it's just planning, right, planning your meals during the weekend, or getting some healthy snacks. So I think it's just trying to plan little things that are manageable, that you can actually execute, so that you feel that you've accomplished something every single day.
Yes, healthy habits, healthy routine over time. It's discipline, and if you heard my little beep went off, and I have these little fitness watches and trackers. And one of the funny things about that is you mentioned breathing, and I'm a big proponent of breathing exercises. And my watch has a breath exercise mode that's like a 4-to-4 ratio, deep in and deep exhales. And so was sharing this with somebody, and the stat tracker pulls up a workout wrap, and it was basically labeled coherence. And they said, what's coherence? And I said, that's my breath work. And really, by encouraging, walking and the movement, you're really getting, giving your lungs a good amount of work as well. And then the blood in your body and it all working together. But these small lifestyle shifts you were talking about, these can be big gains in life expectancy and quality. Do you have any resources or stats to point people out as to how these equate to benefits in your life, and tips and things to use as resources that the American Heart Association would have?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first and foremost, please, check our website. There's a lot of resources available. There's no cost associated. I just recently posted on the First Step team about LDL, right, which is the bad cholesterol. And really, again, is to understand what the numbers mean, what you should be looking for, and actually getting it checked. I think a lot of times, someone who says an annual checkup, that's even just the minimum. Really, you have to be very intentional about your health every single day. Like, how do you feel? How's your mental state? How is your body functioning? Those little things, because it could make a bigger impact if you choose to ignore it. We only have one life to live, and it's important that you take care of yourself and your heart.
I love that. And, I often catch myself saying that, we only have one life. We don't know what's going to happen. And not on a level to be so fearful of it, but of a level to be so appreciative and grateful that we can work out. And in that mode of enlightenment where you can catch a sunrise, a sunset, the blue sky, the air, no matter what climate you're in, if you have mountain air or prairie air, breathing that in outside and getting in walking, whether it's 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, 40 minutes a day. If you're someone like us and you start tracking the miles and you have friendly competition in the group, accountability buddies, but these are leading by example in the workplace in a regard of what we're doing for the industry. And another thing about our industry is the diet and the consumption of fast food, but also energy drinks and the lack of water intake. And I'm a coffee, water, tea kind of guy, and so if I'm drinking, it's usually going to be one of those three things, and I'll put some electrolytes in my water. But I see a lot of people in our industry consuming energy drinks, which, from what I gather, and I'm not a doctor or an expert, but doesn't this have like a counterintuitive effect on your heart?
It does. And again, similar to you, I'm not a doctor, but again, a lot of these energy drinks are comprised of caffeine, high sugar content, and it gives you that extreme high, but then you dip very significantly low. So your body isn't really regulated. It's just like these extremes that at the end result can actually have a worse effect on your body. So it goes back to maintaining that consistency.
Mm.
I get it. Water's boring. We don't want, but there are things you could add to it, right? You could add lemon juice, or you could add, some things that are natural that kind of help, encourage you to drink more water. And again, it's just that consistency, right? You need fluids in your body to help make sure you flush out the bad stuff. It's great for your skin, it's great for your mental health, and so there are many advantages of just drinking just water. But as far as energy drinks, no, that's not a good that's not a good substitution for a healthier living.
Yeah, I've never heard a doctor recommend them, but I thought I'd bring that up. And
Yeah.
I add a little bit of amino acid and electrolytes in my water, powder I got from Costco. Not really aware of the brand, but it didn't seem to be harmful. And I like a little taste in the water every once in a while. But I also noticed that I don't crave these sugars if I get my heart rate up and these things like that. And so I always heard it was good to get, your heart rate up to 120. And for my personal trainer that I was with for a 3-year period of time, I met with him every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we'd always talk about, circuit training, walking, cardiovascular exercise, and balancing it out on the off days. But the sustained heart rate, and he'd say, even if you do sustained cardio for 20 or 30 minutes at a time, it's much better than even getting your overall steps, or like what people say, oh, I got in 10,000 steps, or I got in 15,000 steps. I mean, put this emphasis on a continuous movement. And that did change some of my habits, some of my functions, some of my the behaviors, even in what I eat, how my body metabolized. Do you do you have any recommendations on the amount of movement, or what is the recommended, amount of movement if you are ably bodied and can do so?
Obviously we recommend 20 minutes a day, and sometimes that's not even possible. I think it's more again of like, what can you truly try to achieve? Is it 10 minutes in the morning, and maybe for your lunch break, do another 5 minutes, and then before the end of the day, add another 10. But it's building that. Sometimes I actually put it in my schedule. I mean, I'll say I'm going to do a 10-minute walk, and you have to do it, and that helps you kind of really be consistent. It's again, we have such a busy life, and it's hard to even just say I want to put 20 minutes of just walking. So then you kind of adapt to what you really do, and the more you do it, the better you feel, the more consistent it becomes, and then the overall result, and you start to feel better, you start to think better, you start to overall have a greater sense of well-being. So I think that's more the bigger picture of it. Like, just little things, just start doing it, really. Little simple steps.
And then we have the emphasis on, of course, the annual physical or regular blood pressure and cholesterol checks, but even like the lab results when you're getting a lipid panel, or even if you want to crank it up to a metabolic panel, how most people even kind of shy away from doing that annually. But just to know that, you could do this biannually, you could do this quarterly, and, usually what gets measured is getting managed. And so when it comes time to, if you wait too long, how does the American Heart Association recommend as far as balancing, is it annual physicals? Is it, speaking with your primary care physician? What are the recommendations there?
You know, it- Not one size fits all, right? So I think it depends on really, again, your age, your like, um, obviously your health, your current state of health. Main thing is really just to kind of have a schedule in place. Like, what does it look like? The minimum recommended obviously is an annual checkup, but really, what does that mean? What exactly are the things that you should be asking for with your doctor? What are the blood tests that you should be having? Um, you should be owning really sort of your life, your health, and everything else. So those are the important things really of like, to make sure that you're establishing great habits and great checkups. Um, I think a lot of times too, people are just afraid to see the doctor because they always think worst case scenario. I don't want to go. It's going to cost me a lot of money. I'm probably going to get bad news. It's that negative um, mentality. And I think if you come in with it like, I'm going to be healthier because I'm actually visiting an expert who can actually recommend things to make sure my life is a longer life. That's the way to make it a more positive experience. And then also being prepared, right? Making sure you know what questions to ask. Like, okay, I've been feeling like this and I've noticed this. Like, what does that mean? Like, what kind of test should I be getting? Don't be afraid to ask questions. We're not doctors, so it's important that you do ask questions. I think that's the other thing. Just because they come in and they feel rushed, then maybe that's not the right doctor for you. So I'm very like, I'm going to spend my 30 minutes with you and I'm going to ask every single question I have because this is my time with you and my health is most important. And I would challenge, the members to kind of have that perspective too when you're seeing your doctor.
Yeah, and in our Facebook group, obviously, we're not talking about doctors, but I'm a firm believer in like movement equals energy, and that we do need to get out. And I think that we often talk about so much of everything else except health, and I believe it's mental, physical, spiritual, but I think there's really a lot to be said about health and wealth and relationships for our overall well-being. And I have a On my personal side of the story, my father had, few heart attacks, and I lost him when I was 15 years old, and so it encourages a personal health transformation from me. And even though I'd like to say, he taught me a lot in a little bit of time and prepared me for this world, I think as parents and as a father myself, that it's important to be there for the long haul for your children, and to do things that maybe aren't like everybody else. The amount of foods and the chemicals we have in our foods and the sugar and the glucose that adds up in our body is a big thing that's been ignored in our society. And now we have this Make America Healthy Again movement, and that's getting traction. And we're finding that there's these harmful food colors and things that are being outlawed and banned, which have been banned for years in Europe and other countries. And so I think this is a big part of it, but I don't think I think we can't skip it without exercise. I mean, it's going to take diet, but exercise is a big part of it. And I think that for our movement's sake and the longevity of ourselves, that we have to talk about the warning signs of health disease. And you mentioned earlier, it's the number one cause of death. So what are some of the warning signs?
Again, so if you have hard trouble breathing, right? Or you start getting sweaty, or you start getting dizziness, or I mean, these are all numbness in your arms, all indications that you can be having a stroke, or a cardiac arrest, and it needs to be taken seriously. One of the things we say is, if you observe something like that, you have to immediately have someone call 911. Um, so those are some of the things that definitely to be aware of. In
And association website. It's there. It's free, but we also we have a fair amount of good energy and walking in our group. It's our Facebook group. It's the First Steps with Ken Goodrich, and especially if you're in the trades, you'll fit right in. We have electricians and plumbers and heating and cooling guys. We have vendors and trainers. We have husbands, wives, family members in there, and we share our walking photos. We tag the trades we're in and the challenges that we have going in. So we encourage everybody, invite your coworkers, your team members, and these leaders that participate in this to really make a movement. And we can't thank the American Heart Association and you enough for being a part of it. And we're in this 200-mile challenge, and maybe collectively we'll get 1,000 miles this month. But a couple of years ago, Ken hit 1,000 miles, and it drew a lot of attention. And he had a little celebration video going to the edge of the dock, and then we celebrated the next guy doing it, and we shot a video of him, and it drew this attention that we haven't really seen in the trades. And so I hope to continue this relationship with you, Anne, and then we can do this weekly. We can tally up our scores together. I think tomorrow is I'm gonna get some of the tallies as the weekends, and I'll post some of that stuff up. But yeah, would you like to add anything to that about the group there? You wanna give them any mode of encouragement or any special message?
So great to see the enthusiasm and the motivation, and everybody supporting each other, and also the competition piece of it too. It's just so funny to see, but I love it. And again, it's that journey, like just not so much the end result of the 200 miles, but just to see everybody supportive of each other, kind of egging each other. That's the funniest, and it's great to see, and it's so motivating and inspiring. So I'm just really grateful to be part of this, and just to help you and your team and everybody in the group to really make sure that they're knowledgeable, they're educated, they have the resources, and that, they live a great, long, amazing life.
Well, yeah. And the good news is we're not stuck. We can make changes. We don't have to accept that, this is life, or this is part of the job, or this is part of the career. There's a lot of healthy people, a lot of fit people in our group. And there's small practical steps, like you said, getting, 10 or 15 minutes of movement, and those add up. We all have to start somewhere. And we have I think we saw a guy who was posting, he's going to do like a 30, I think he said 30 days from now, he's got a 125-mile ultra run coming up. And I thought that was interesting. And so we have guys of all different sizes and different measures of health and success and where they're at in their journey. But the beauty of that is that I think we have the full spectrum. We have the people who are just getting started and they're not afraid to show up. And then we have the guys that are sharing their enthusiastic, high-end, goals to get better. So we're all motivating and pushing each other no matter what level of fitness you're at.
Absolutely. 100%, Jason.
So we're going to close here. We're going to drink more water. We're going to eat smarter. We're going to get moving. We're going to get our blood pressure. We're going to get our heart checked. We're going to look at the American Heart Association website for more resource materials. We're going to log into Facebook and go to the First Steps with Ken Goodrich group. You'll see Anne and I will be there along with Ken and the others who are all participating. And so with that being said, as we wrap this up, I just want to challenge everyone who's watching to take the first step and to do that and to thank you, Anne, for showing up and all the stuff you've done with us, for your support.
Thank you so much. Can I end it with a quote?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. So take good care of it.
I love that. Thanks, Anne. Thanks for everybody watching. Hopefully this will reach some good people with in the right times for motivation and inspiration. And until next time, hopefully we'll see you next week and we'll keep it going. So here's to the first step.
Take care. Thank you.
You bet. Yeah.
What if your toughest setback was actually your setup? The Legacy Impact Show is hosted by Jason Amato, a powerhouse business growth consultant, implementation expert, and believer in legacy-driven leadership. Each episode is packed with insight on faith, fitness, and business, showing you how to turn pain into power and strategy into success. Ready to level up in life, business, and purpose? Subscribe to the Legacy Impact Show, available on all major podcast platforms.